Tuesday the 3rd of September. I thought I'd do a little video about tomatoes. Same family as potatoes, but my word, what a difference this year. Now I'd have to say it's been one of our best ever years for potatoes, and I think I'd have to say one of our worst ever years for tomatoes. To be honest, they've been so bad in the greenhouse, I've actually given up sort of looking after them. I haven't taken a tomato off for a week. Haven't watered them either. What can I say about them? They've sort of grown, but grown very few tomatoes, very few seeds have set. We've got lots of trusses. This one's even got bindweed in it, but we've got lots of trusses with just tiny useless tomatoes on. These supposedly Crimson Crush, these two plants. Tomatoes haven't grown much like Crimson Crush there. As big as we've had this year off these. I expect loads off these, but they've been really poor. Some haven't produced much at all. There's some decent tomatoes on at the minute, but to be honest, pretty rubbishy. So we got some to come. Even the sun golds have been very poor. That's the sort of tiny little tomatoes we've been getting. I mean, sun gold I know are small, but I normally expect something a bit bigger than that. So all in all, the tomatoes in here have been absolute rubbish. Don't know quite why. And I could put it down to the cold, sort of June and July, but is it? I'm going to take you to the cold frame at the plot and we'll have a look in there. So these then are our cold frame tomatoes. I've probably got best fruit on of all the lot, and these are the leftover plants. So we plant up the greenhouse at the plot and the greenhouse at home, and then the beds and tubs with tomatoes at home. And any plants we have left come down here and go in this sort of makeshift cold frame, but there's no glass left. But the plants have done pretty well. I mean, even the sun golds that have come in this plot or in the cold frame are better than the ones in the greenhouse, and it must have been colder in here than in the greenhouse. So I don't understand why the greenhouse ones have been so bad. I didn't do anything different from what I normally do, but there's certainly quite a decent set of tomatoes on here. Probably pick one or two of these tonight before we go back. One or two that are ripe. But all in all, it's a disastrous year, so I'll show you how the greenhouse tomatoes at home have done and the ones in the tubs. So I shall add that in here so you can see how all our tomatoes have done this year. Said I'd do our home greenhouse tomatoes, so we'll have a look inside the greenhouse because these haven't done very well. Again, a bit like the ones at the plot. So tomatoes are pretty grim, pretty poor. Again, very small tomatoes where we've got some. I noticed these are typical. So this plant should be reasonably large tomatoes, and they're not much better than cherry tomatoes. So it's been a really disappointing set. So Crimson Crush, I mean, it's just not Crimson Crush, is it? I mean, not daft. I mean, look at this truss. That's supposedly Crimson Crush. Sun Gold through there, tiny, tiny tomatoes. Just don't know what happened. We do have 1 or 2 peppers. I'd given up on the peppers at one stage, but we now do have some peppers. Some just starting to turn, like that one there. So we may get some peppers if we're lucky. Have had a few successes. This spider plant was turfed out because it appeared dead. It seems to have enjoyed just being planted in the soil, and it's producing some youngsters, so hopefully before the weather turns too bad we'll get some cuttings off that. And I've also managed to get some chilies. There's a nice one in there. Sue reckons that one probably do us for a year. We don't use a lot of chilli. There's another one there going way down, there's a few more on it. I've also managed to get a nice banana plant going. Cutting off our main banana plant and got that going. So that's taken off this plant. So I'll now take you and have a look at the tomatoes in our cold frame. This is the state of our tomatoes at home. They didn't survive Storm Lillian and they were just flattened. Don't seem to want to stand up at all without just breaking them off, so I'm just leaving them and seeing what happens. I might try and just lift some off the floor to avoid slug damage, but there are some over there, some quite nice tomatoes through there. So I'll see what we can get. Oh, little mischief's come to see me, to see what's going on. Thought you weren't coming out, Rubes. Not very good, is it? And then in the raised bed again. Didn't survive Storm Lillian, just battered them to bits. So again, it's just whatever we can get off there. Okay, Rubes, we're off now. That's enough. What do you do now, Rubes? How do you get past there? Hey, Rubes? Rubes, how are you going to get out of there? Hey? Go on. You must have got through, Ruby. Anyway, that's our tomato crop this year. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.